Purushot, can you start with the speaker introduction?
Yeah, sure. Okay.
Yes, I'm ready.
Yeah. Thanks, Uma. And greetings to everyone on this call. I'm delighted to introduce Mr. T Jayaprakash, who I know personally for over 15 years. He graduated from University of Madras in 1978 with a degree in chemical engineering. He also completed his MBA at University of Madras in 1980. Then he joined HCL as an analyst programmer in 1980. That was his first job. Through his work, he moved to Singapore in 1981, and he last worked at ST Microelectronics as a regional director for Southeast Asia until 2017. After retiring from ST Micro after 33 years of service, he started Sanzbee Technologies in 2017 and has developed many solutions for a variety of applications. He is exploring many markets, including oil and gas manufacturing, including oil and gas and manufacturing, where the IoT will help automate and get connected. In our webinar series, we heard from Professor Igor a few weeks ago speaking about the underlying technology of IoTs and how there is a large-scale changes awaiting in our lifestyle. Now, I invite Mr. JP to share his ideas and experiences as an IoT system integrator. Welcome, JP. Thank you.
Before JP goes, I'll go with the expectations, Purushot. No, I'll share the expectations of this webinar. Can JP remove your, kindly remove your share of a slide so that I'll speak and then you can share it.
Okay.
Stop sharing. You have to give. Please stop share. That's enough. Once I finish, I'll hand it over to you. Okay. Good evening, friends. For those who are joining from India and Croatia, it's going to be good afternoon, and good evening, late evening in the Singapore and Hong Kong. Okay, friends, this is Dr. Krishnan Umachandran from India. I'm going to express the expectations out of this seminar. Friends, we have with us a kind of a doyen in this field of IoT, Mr. T Jayaprakash, who's 10 years senior to us in engineering itself. We were 34 years, and he is more about 10 years from what we are. So he's 44 plus of experience in industry. Friends, we are very happy to hear the inputs from Mr. T Jayaprakash. But even before we go with the expectations, I wish to tell you that IoT is a kind of a buzzword, both in education as well as in industries. But today, what JP is going to share with us is on industries. So industries are using a lot of data, transforming a lot of data for their convenience and use. So the tool towards this collection of data and transforming of this data is being done by the tool called IoT. So an IoT has a simplified accessibility to the data, in the sense it can sense the data. Second, it will get a lot of insights into the process. Then it will report the data. And finally, it will enrich the knowledge. That is, data, information, knowledge processing happens. So this is a big, widened, hemisphere of implementation, which engineers are going to do from henceforth. So it is very good, requirement of all engineers, being of different disciplines, to learn from JP from today's talk. Even before we go with the JP, with you, we want to know what? We want to know the wherewithal of all IoTs. What is IoT? How is IoT going to go about? Where is IoT being implemented? Everything. Then the applications we want from you, like where it is being implemented, so that we can put our thinking towards it, and we also can align our kind of a focus towards IoT developments. And then the next part is, having done all this, we want to also join with you in some kind of a projects or kind of a facilitations which can help you as an entrepreneur who can help us in using our resources as well. So with these dimensions in our expectation list, we wish to now open the floor to you. JP, the floor is up to you now. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Krishnan. Let me share my screen and then we take it up from there.
Yeah, please.
Are you able to see the screen?
Yes.
Okay, first of all, thank you, Dr. Krishnan, Dr. Igor, coming all the way in a time zone difference to join this webinar. Purushotman and also Tilak for getting organized on this webinar. Okay. I'm thinking today the presentation is going to be general, giving some awareness, a holistic view of the various type of applications which are derived from IoT, and then invoking your interest in IoT and to invoke your thoughts and to explore how it could be expanded outside the arena. Okay. Now, it is not sharing.
No, we can see your screen. Maybe
I'm not able to navigate the screen.
Navigate. Okay.
Okay, hold on. Hold on.
Now.
Now is it clear?
Yeah. JP, don't worry, we are with you.
Okay. Okay, guys. Okay, once again, to all the participants, a warm good afternoon, good evening. Those who are joining from Europe, as well as from India, as well as from Hong Kong and Asia. Okay. My name is JP. They call me short as JP. I run a company called Sanzbee Technologies, which is incorporated in Singapore. We have another company called Sanzbee Energy, which is operating from Houston in USA. Okay, this is the background. Okay. In simple words, I wanted to talk about IoT. IoT is not complicated, no? It is a small computing device which has got a unique ID and which is capable of transmitting data over the net without any interference, without human to human or human to computer interference. An IoT sensor is not a complicated product. It is like a small computer which has got a CPU, which has got a memory, it has got an input output, it has got a metadata, and so on. Okay, so this small device, which has its ID also, a unique ID, and which is able to sense the data around or capture the data and transmit the data over the network. The network could be either BLE, it could be LoRa, it could be GSM, to the cloud, where it is consolidated into a cloud, into a table, and then is available for real-time visibility to the end users. What they say is IoT is driven by a combination of SCP squared, simple, which is says sensors, connectivity, people, and processes. Okay, so let's not spend more time on this. As we go along, we are going to see the various applications which have been derived and which Sanzbee has also developed and deployed in certain industries. I first start with this beautiful slide, which speaks a lot, this slide. You see, it's early morning, probably 9 o'clock. A gentleman is walking with his bag, going to office. So there is a sensor in the fridge which has been timed between to 9 o'clock to speak out, saying don't forget to buy milk. So this sensor is able to check the inventory of the milk inside the fridge and give a message to his boss who's rushing to work, where this message could be flashed on his PDA or his mobile. So these are some simple type of applications, but interesting applications, which are in today. Today, everybody is using it. Today, we are talking about Google, what is that called? Google Home Assistant, Alexa from Amazon, where these devices are able to talk, listen to you, and take some actions. And then in a Home Assistant, in a Google Go Home Assistant, you can even say, hey, can you install or can you invoke a time interval of 10 minutes, you know. So the Home Assistant records the time, and after 10 minutes, it gives a beep. This could be automated to an oven, where we keep something in an oven which could be baked for 10 minutes, and a Home Assistant would be able to help us to achieve the time slot with which what we are baking. Next, I'm thinking this is an interesting slide which says, how many devices are there today? You know, it will be surprising that IoT devices are invading all the various sectors of the market, sector of the business. Today, Gartner is saying that we have 25 million devices. And if we started with a very small amount of a few years ago, that's an exponential growth of the usage of IoT devices in various verticals, various businesses, in automobiles, in consumer, in businesses. So everywhere they're using IoT sensors to capture data, transmit data, and later on use the data for analytics, for taking decision, and so on. Next, everybody is talking about smart city and the connected devices today. You know, I believe in India, there is a big drive by the central government where they wanted to make cities smart, where this slide tells that we can make a smart home, we can make a smart energy, we can talk about smart care, we can talk about smart retail, smart working, smart mobility. Everywhere, the sensing gives some process improvements in that particular domain. For a smart home, we can have sensors which will control the lights. When nobody is there in the room, switch off the light. When somebody is there, switch on the aircon. Switch off the aircon at a particular interval of time. So the applications are, enormous number of applications are being derived, which are already operating in industry, and many more unexplored territories are there where IoT sensing will enable, enrich the process, bring a value add to the end customer, which we are going to see along the line. Okay, this is another slide. Please understand that today my slides are going to just give you different varieties of sensing, okay? So this is in a town hall where there are proximity sensors which are guiding the tourists, the customers who are walking in the lane. So you see the small dots there. These are proximity sensors, which is able to broadcast some information to the customers who are walking along the street. Proximity. When you're near that particular supermarket, or you're near a particular shop, or near a particular restaurant, it pushes a message to your mobile using some protocol, which is a BLE protocol, for example, where it says, hey, we have an interesting menu for you this evening, just to attract the people, but to give valuable information. So otherwise we are lost in a big lane where there is a big number of shops. We do not know because we might be interested to go to a particular shoe store. So when we pass that, if they say this is an Adidas showroom, it makes us life interesting. So proximity sensors, which is able to broadcast data, video, music, sound through the net to your mobile devices. And there are applications which has been developed and deployed everywhere. We will see in the future, in the coming slides too. So without proximity sensors or information, it will be difficult because there will be too much data, you know? So these proximity sensors makes our life easy. When we say, when we are walking in the lane, we wanted to have a good dinner. What are the restaurants in this particular lane? Probably it will flash and we select the restaurant and we walk in. So a lot of applications can be derived or deployed using proximity sensors. For example, I want to also go off the line. For example, imagine in a zoo, you're taking your kid to the zoo. In a zoo, there are a number of animals, all caged inside the cages. You take your kid along, you go near a lion. The kid is asking, Appa, what is this? And he said, this is a lion. The kid next asks you, Appa, where is this lion coming from? Immediately you look into the table there where it says this lion is from Africa. You start to read. All these things could be automated by having a sensor there. So you have a mobile device, you go nearby, automatically that information comes onto your mobile saying, I am lion, I am from Africa, I was born this year, I've come to the zoo this year, this is what I eat, this is what I run, this is my speed, this is my weight, this is my... So all the details could be flashed on your mobile using a proximity sensor. Imagine now you go to a zoo or you go to a museum or you go to a beautiful garden. There are a number of trees. The trees can speak and tell, I am this particular tree. I was born at this particular year. Imagine now you go to your museum and the museum talks. It'll be interesting and it'll encourage us to know more about the architecture or that particular art which is there in the museum and so on. Okay, few more scenarios to make yourself interesting. Imagine you're walking in the lane and you see a food court and you see, and the food court, the menu comes on to your mobile and says, this is the menu for today, and these are the deals. If you come in between 6:30 to 7:30, I give you a free beer. So these sensors would be able to broadcast such informations. This is an IoT device. It is a small computer, which is a proximity sensor capability, which is able to push data. Today, the push data could even go to half a kilometer range. Okay, so they are powerful. I'm thinking the technology, the architecture is becoming more robust and robust. So imagine you go to the restaurant on your mobile, the menu card comes to your mobile. Okay, and you can select and say, I want to have a biryani, I want to have satay. And when you click it and say yes, the sensors which is on the table will be able to say, send the message to the kitchen, and it will also be able to tell you when the food is coming to your table. All can be automated using IoT proximity sensors. We have applications, we have developed applications, we have deployed these applications in Indonesia, in Malaysia, okay? So this is one. Next, imagine you go to an expo hall where there is a big exposition, and you wanted to go to a particular booth which is selling computers. These type of information, the navigation into the expo hall, directing you to that computer peripherals shop, all can be automated using IoT sensors. It doesn't only do this, the data which we collect, we will know at what hour, how many people came to the computer shop, where is the traffic, who all came to the shop, how many men came to the shop. All these type of valuable data can be captured by the IoT sensing process, which can be used for making decision-making along the way. This is one example. Next, airport. Imagine we walk into an airport. It's a huge airport. It's like Singapore. We have 3 major airports in Singapore, Terminal 1, Terminal 2, Terminal 3. And we wanted to know our flight is from which terminal it is taking off. Such the flow map, where to go, the loyalty programs, the schedules, the boarding gates, navigation, all can be driven using proximity sensors with an application. We have developed some application for even for an airport. We did a demo, but we have not deployed it. That was due to COVID and so on. It has been put on hold. But such type of applications could be deployed anywhere. Okay. The concept is the sensors are able to guide the people. Okay. This is what we'll have to. So like this, the audience today should be able to visualize in their daily working environment, in their daily working living area, how to automate, because there is, as I said, you'll have to think outside the box and you will be able to come out with a beautiful idea. And we together with Sanzbee, we are available to work together to convert this, your idea, into a product and promote it in the market. Okay, that's the objective of this webinar. We wanted to encourage students. I'm thinking there is a college from Europe which is connected to this webinar. Be available. We are available to help you guys to jointly develop some solutions, which today is not available. In your eyes, you feel that that area can be tapped. Please let us know. We can work together along with Dr. Krishna Uma. Okay, in a shop, same thing like a shopping mall. You go to a shopping mall, the sensors can welcome you. Imagine, I saw this example in US where I used to normally buy a particular branded shirt, and when I go near the shop, it was able to record my data, and it flashed a message to my mobile saying, we have your brand, we have your style, and there's a promotion, why don't you buy? Such type of information can be pushed to the end customer's mobile, promoting, encouraging more sales, and so on. Okay, this is one. Next, I'm thinking this solution is actively or it is deployed in Singapore in all the bus stops. Okay, in Singapore, we have sensors which says when the bus will come. That we know exactly how long to wait in a bus stop. Imagine how this process is working. The buses have a sensor, and we know how much time it will take from the endpoint to come over here, and such information is flashed on the screen, such that all the passengers know exactly at what time the bus comes, so that they could be prepared, they could come there in time, and so on. So such type of solutions, applications, definitely it will be very useful if it is deployed in India. for example. So this is a typical application which has been deployed in Singapore. And this application, imagine you're driving on a long road on a highway, a pollution index, there is some pollution, it is dark, a few kilometers, half a kilometer away, and such information comes down to your mobile or to your dashboard. It'll be interesting. Suddenly you'll slow down, you'll go to the site, you know it's going to be dark half a kilometer from where you are. Such type of useful information could be also broadcasted or shared, okay? So there are applications which are revolving around this, okay? So in summary, the scenarios are endless. As of now, I'm talking about concept and where it is being deployed. Next, I'm going to share live examples where Sanzbee has developed some solutions and has deployed these solutions in America as well as in Asia, okay? This is a beautiful application where we have done it for a customer, a big customer. I do not want to reveal the name, but it's a big customer. It's a $30 billion company where they are manufacturing racks. If you see on the left side, it's a rack. You see the package, there's a rack, there's a sensor there. This rack is holding $1 to $2 million worth of equipments inside the rack. So imagine this is so expensive. A rack which has got routers, servers, storage, and so on. It is mounted on a rack, and this rack is manufactured in a shop floor, and it is going to go on a road to an end customer, let's say 600 miles away. And this rack is worth $1 to $2 million. $1 to $2 million, we are talking about 7-8 crores of rupees. No? So this is going in a lorry to an end customer. So the customer wants to know what is how the shipment is being taken on the road. If the rack tilts, it'll spoil the quality of the rack. It may damage the servers inside the rack. So, and the customer also wants to know the temperature, the humidity, the air pressure, the air quality surrounding the rack. And this rack is going to the end customer a few hundred miles away. So they wanted to know at every interval, what is the status of the rack? Because if the rack tilts, it gets spoiled and it has to be returned back. Imagine a $1 million rack. If it returns back, we lose the money, we lose the revenue. So we have put a sensor which will monitor all these parameters which are shown here. Even the tilt position, there's an oscilloscope where it gives an XYZ coordinate, and it measures this. And if there is any deviation, so there is a rule engine running behind the application, and this rule engine will continuously monitor if there are any deviation. If there is a slight tilt, the rule engine will wake up, will be able to catch it and send a quick SMS, a push message to the business owner. The business owner picks up the phone, calls the logistics company, calls the driver, and asks him to go on the side, halt the lorry, make sure that the package is kept at the right position and continue, by which they could avoid the losses which could incur to the company when it slides down, or it falls down, or it bends. So that company with which we are working, they said 20% of the returns. So it's a $30 billion company. From Asia alone, they ship around about 10,000 racks in a calendar year. 20% returns are there. They do not know for what, but they would like to monitor these parameters to reduce the 20%. That's the type of applications which could be developed, bringing value add to the customer, improving the processes, and to streamline the processes for this particular industry. Okay, this is one. We have developed this application, and we are going to deploy it soon. Okay, we have done the beta. We are now validating the hardware to be more robust, and then we will put it on the road. Okay, so similarly, environmental monitoring also is another walk of the town. No? What does environmental monitoring do? Let's say you're working in a very big office environment, several floors are there, each floor, a few hundred staff are working. And imagine we are all in a computer company, and all of us are working in that environment. Everybody has got a table and chair, and all of a sudden at one area of the corner of the room, the temperature is hot. We are not able to work. There is smoke. The humidity is bad. The air quality is bad. So in order to measure and make some continuous improvement to ensure that the environment is friendly and safe for workers to work, there are sensors which are able to measure the environment in a building, in a floor, and give the visibility to the operations director or the facilities director in that building to ensure that they have a smooth, comfortable environment to work. If the environment is good, what happens? Productivity increases, people are happy, they don't leave the company, the output is more. So directly or indirectly, we help to increase the productivity of that organization. So environmental monitoring today is happening everywhere. In Singapore, almost all the buildings have these type of controls to measure the environment and to improve. Okay. We have applications also for that. Okay. Energy consumption, this is another area. No? Today, energy is cost. Okay. So if we use unnecessarily energy, it is cost to the company, which goes into your cost of the working. You know? So how to measure? So sensors which could be deployed in different areas on different machines. It can be put on a what is it called, generator, or in a lift. So we can find out what is the consumption of the energy in a shop floor, in an office shop or a manufacturing shop floor, such that when we have such data, we are able to make improvements. We are able to cut down wherever it is, because it saves some money. So energy consumption monitoring also, we have sensors. Okay, this is another typical application which we have developed, and we have deployed it in Houston in America. Okay, this is a company called Kimco, KMCO. It's a chemical manufacturing company, which is manufacturing chemicals for oil and gas. It's a big, you see on the right side, it is a 120-acre land, okay? 120-acre land. And there are all these things are tanks, chemical processing tanks, which are there. Every day, 300 trucks come into the factory, either to deposit the chemicals or pick up the processed chemicals to deliver to the customer. So when the trucks comes into the factory, the total cycle time taken for a truck should be only 3 hours. Within 3 hours, they should be able to do the job, in the sense, either unload the chemicals or pick up the chemicals and move to the customer, move out of the factory. If there are any truck which is more than 3 hours, the company organization wanted to know why, because that will be a bottleneck. Because every day they can process only 300 trucks. Imagine a truck comes in and stays there for 10 hours. They would like to know why it took more than 3.5 hours. Why this truck has spent 10 hours? Which bay it was a bottleneck. So all these things, we are doing it using a sensor, a GPS type of a sensor. We are using LoRa technology. LoRa is a network protocol, which is called long range wide area network. So we have a gateway. All the trucks will have when they come into the factory, they have a sensor, and the gateway will be able to monitor them. And when they leave, it knows when did they come, when did they go, where all did they go, and so on. LoRa, we are using, is working on radio signals, okay? Radio signals are different from BLE, is different from GSM protocols. So LoRa is radio frequency protocols, the data gets transmitted. The data for a LoRa network can transmit up to 6 mile radius. Imagine, no? There is no network, there's no telephone connectivity, there's no internet, but a sensor which is able to sense data and transmit radio in radio frequency for a 6 mile radius. And we can capture the data and send it to the cloud. So this is another beautiful application developed by Sanzbee and deployed running in Houston today. Next, tank monitoring and automation. This is for oil and gas industry. Okay, today we have deployed the solution in USA, in Texas, in Oklahoma, and so on. What happens is, everybody has heard of shale gas where fracking is done. Fracking is an industry where they frack the earth to get the oil. So all these fracking is done in a desert where there is no network, no electricity, and so on. So in a fracking operation, there are several wells, 50, 60 wells in a particular area, and they use acid, chemicals, and water with a high pressure, with the sand mixed together. They pump and clear the pores so that the oil can come up. Okay, so in such an environment, they wanted to monitor the level of the acid, the chemicals, the water in the tanks, because if there is no acid, the whole operation will stop. Normally, a fracking operation is done for 3 to 4 weeks in a month, and they clear all the 50 wells and they move. So if there is no water or no acid or no chemical, the whole operation stops. So before Sanzbee deployed the solution, all these things was manually tracked. A guy used to walk up the ladder, go on the tank, use a dipstick to check, it has got 50 liters of chemical. 50 liters is enough for another 1 day. We can buy the chemical tomorrow. So it was all manual operations. So our Sanzbee solution, which is putting an ultrasonic sensor on top of the tank, which was able to monitor every minute the level of the tanks, and there was a rule engine which was running behind the scene, which says what is the upper control limit, what is the lower control limit, and if the level exceeds either the upper control or lower control, an alert is sent to the operations director, where he takes a quick action. So interruption is avoided. In such operations, zero interruption to production is very, very important. Otherwise, it costs money. There should be zero interruption to production. That means because there is no acid, I'm not able to do the fracking. Such things should not happen. So we have automated using ultrasonic sensors, using a LoRa network protocol to capture the data, take the data to the cloud, and give some visibility, real-time, online real-time visibility. When we talk about real-time online visibility, I'm talking what is happening in Houston, in America. I can see from Singapore, I can see from India and take actions. So such is the type of applications which we can develop in this particular space. We will come to that later as we go along, okay? So this slide I added just to invoke some interest to the audience from India. No? We wanted, in India, people buy water. I think in South India, people buy water. No? Water is expensive. So they buy a lorry of water, which is 12,000 liters. They might pay 3,000, 4,000 rupees. The lorry guy who comes in will not transfer the 12,000 liters. He will transfer only 10,000 and he'll pocket the 2,000 and keep it aside. Such things is happening in India. So we were approached by Taj group of hotels, as well as this Chola hotels. We did the prototype last May to Taj. Okay, we actually started January to do a prototype for Taj. Because the COVID was there, we were not able to move forward. We are going to carry on with this company in 2021. What do they want? They wanted to, the Taj Hotel, wanted to monitor the water tanks, the level of the water tanks in the hotel. Not only in Chennai, they wanted to do it in Bangalore, they wanted to do it in Bombay, they wanted to do it in Delhi, all over, because they are buying water. So they, at any point of a time, they wanted to know what is the level of water, how much water, how many gallons of water we have in the hotels, such that they can facilitate or improve the cycle time to order, when to order, and so on. So what they did is, it was not only the volume of water, they wanted to know the quality of water too. What I buy from a vendor, I want to know the turbidity, the chlorine level, the pH value, the water temperature. So these three, there are three phases here. Water level is the tank. What is the volume of water in the tank? Water flow is how much of water is going to the kitchen, how much is going to the garden, how much is going to the reception, how much is going to the rooms. They would like to measure also the volume of water and also the quality of the water. So we have IoT sensors which will be able to measure all these things. So we place the IoT sensor, which will be able to capture the data real time without any interference, from an operator or a clerk or a watchman. These sensors will be able to wake up, check the quality of water, check the level of water, and transmit and send the data to the cloud, where a real-time visibility could be seen by the central operations team sitting in Delhi. For example, imagine the central operations is sitting in Delhi, which is watching the entire India, all the Taj hotels. He would be able to see and take action, corrective actions or controls. So the whole process adds value to the operations of Taj Hotel. Okay, we are not deployed. We have the solution today with Sanzbee, and we are targeting to do it in 2021. Just for your info. Okay, so these are, I'm just giving some examples. These are the tanks. You see the tanks. You see that there is an arrow there. This is an ultrasonic sensor which is kept on the tank. That's all. This ultrasonic sensor is able to measure what is the level of water in the tank and transmit the data. Okay. We will, I think in this session, I do not want to go more technical. You might ask a question, hey, how it is done and so on, but we will cover it in subsequent sessions once Dr. Krishnan and Purushotman organizes other technical sessions following this. Okay. Next, something interesting, no? Quad bike management portal. I think many of us would have gone to Dubai, where we were sand dunes. We have heard of sand dunes, where there is vehicles which are running, motorbikes, cars running on a sand platform. Very interesting. Okay. Today, to have a ride in a sand dune, you pay $40 US for a 30-minute drive. Okay. And at any point of time, 300, 400 vehicles will be running on this particular arena, in this particular area. The organizer doesn't know when to stop. So you would have come at 10 o'clock, another guy would have come at 10:30, another guy at 10:45. You go inside, but the duration is only half an hour, you should come back. He does not know whom to stop because it is all for running far away. So I proposed a solution, Sanzbee, not I, Sanzbee proposed a solution where when they take the bike, we put a sensor. The sensor has got a time control, 30 minutes. Okay, because 30 minutes of drive, you'll have to pay $40 US. So we put a sensor. So when you take the bike and run into that sand dunes, it clocks. And when you pass the 30 minutes, there's a red light coming on your vehicle. So the guy organizers know who has exceeded the time and wave and bring them, or the person who's driving the vehicle, he himself knows that he has reached the time, drives back the vehicle and puts it into the parking area. Okay. Today, to be honest, this application was not there. When I visited the sand dunes, I thought such an application will add value add to the customer. When I proposed, they were happy, So these are some of the things which students who are watching this program should look into. So there are a lot of untapped areas where we could visualize and convert it into an IoT application. We are there to support you. We will work out the hardware. We will work out the technology together with you, with Krishnan, and we could convert it into an application and go to market. Okay, so this is some example. So for example, you see a lot of motorcycles running. There's a red dot which is there. These are the guys who have exceeded the half an hour. So on the right side, we know what time did he start, what time did he end, and a red light is there, so that we can have a full control on that particular space. So imagine these type of application same type of application, we can think of in different areas, different verticals, okay? So this is one. Here I wanted to just flash these are not the only one, but just to give you, so environmental sensing sensors are there, asset tracking, we can even do tracking of assets. Imagine in a big shop floor, there are valuable assets. Imagine an aircraft repair shop. Aircraft repair shop is a very expensive area where there is a lot of spare parts. We wanted to track this particular spare part, in which floor it is. So we can track assets using sensors. The other one is proximity sensors, which I was talking about in my earlier presentation. Then indoor tracking, I talked about LoRaWAN, okay? LoRaWAN, GPS type of sensors and so on, okay? So this is these are some of the verticals which I have deployed in US today running live. One is moving vehicle track, which I talked about, the 300 vehicles, chemical factory, which is coming in and going out. So we can have a visibility that all the green dots are vehicles within 3 hours. All which is red are exceeding 3.5 hours. All which is yellow are idle, something like that, and give a dashboard to the management that they know how to control, how to make improvement. We have to find out what is the root cause, why a truck is delayed. Find the root cause and eliminate the root cause, which will add value to the process, reduce the cost of operation, many things. Second one is the inventory management I talked about in a fracking oil and gas industry. Critical asset tracking, we have deployed this for some of the industries here. Environmental monitoring, I talked about office space. ECD monitoring, this is when some gases are let into the atmosphere, we'll have to ensure that they are following the standards, they are following the protocols. You cannot unnecessarily send poisonous gases into the atmosphere. These are all some requirements which is happening in US. So before it goes, the sensor is able to say, what is the volume of gas which is let into the atmosphere? Imagine, imagine there is a, in Bhopal, a long time ago, there was some explosion, some poisonous gas, thousands of people died. Imagine we have a sensor which is able to capture immediately and give an alert. We would have avoided so many deaths. So such like that, we have deployed it in a company called Cimarron in USA, where we have ECD monitoring. We have put sensors, the carbon dioxide going into it, what is the exhaust, a lower level oxygen, upper level oxygen, and many more parameters. We can monitor many type of things, which I'm going to talk in the subsequent slide. Okay, so this is one. Okay, another thing which is catching up. I'm thinking this is interesting. I'm thinking Purushotman, Krishnan, Tilak, we are contemplating to launch this particular activity. We wanted to quickly get into this area. Telemedicine and telehealth, new way of monitoring patients. This has happened in US. Today in US, because of the COVID, they do not want to admit patients into the hospital. There are IoT-enabled gadgets which is given to the customer, to the patient, asking him to go home. You go home, you put it on your wrist, you put it on your hip, and switch it on. That device measures critical parameters and transmits the data over the internet to the doctor. Okay, it goes to the cloud. The doctor sitting from his home is able to monitor, and he puts some rule. If there is any deviation, it gives an alert, and so on. Similar scenario, let's say, for example, a pregnant lady, a maternity clinic. If there is a gadget which is attached to the pregnant lady, which says when to go to the maternity clinic, rather than going earlier, going late, there's a device which monitors and gives input to the doctor. Okay, so this is a new wave. It is deployed in US. Okay, during the COVID, I have taken some real cases. So Sanzbee is exploring, along with Purushotman and Krishnan, such that we could do such devices and deploy it in India. This is one of the projects which we have thought about. Okay, this is one. Next, I'm going to come to technical things. Okay, I'm going to talk about framework, architecture and framework. I'm not going to touch much on this because it is more technical, but I wanted to give a flavor to the audience because there are some engineering graduates who are listening to what I'm talking. They should not think that IoT framework is rocket science. It's a simple design, but there are different software layers which integrate the collection of data and to ensure that we don't lose data, how to process them, how to bring it into the cloud. Okay, so if you see here at the center, we have Sanzbee Gateway. This is our IP. This is our intelligence which Sanzbee, my company, has developed. On the left side, you see buildings, vehicles, machines, moving assets, safety, security, and so on. So we could have sensors in all these areas. We can have a temperature, environmental sensor in a building. We can have a light sensor in a machine. We can have a position sensor in an asset, like that. So there are different type of IoT sensors. I have 150 type of sensing IoT sensors with me in Sanzbee. So these sensors will be able to sense the data and transmit the data over the net to the receiving medium. Okay, so what are the network protocols, network standards on which the data is being transmitted? We talk about BLE. I talked about BLE, Wi-Fi, cellular, GSM, LoRa. LoRa and Zigbee are radio frequency type of network protocols. We have talked about Sigfox. This is another network protocol. And on the lower, we have machine-to-machine interfaces. Most of us know about HTTPS, which media the data comes and how to tap the data. So there is Modbus, there is MQTT services. Okay, so then the data goes to the cloud. Once the data goes to the cloud, the table, we are able to extract it and give a real-time visibility. Okay, so this is a simple architecture, but this is what it means. On the left side, you have IoT devices. On the right side, you have a mobile or your PDA. Along intermediate, we have different stacks of software. We have got PushPush, PubNub, we have got Azure, we have got AWS, many, and we have got MQTT services. These are all different stacks. So we'll have to integrate all these in order to ensure that we tap the data correctly. There should not be a loss. Okay, and we'll have to take real-time data. When there are actions taken, we cannot delay. So there is a pull activity, there's a push activity, and so on. All these are different software stacks which are integrated together, and that is called as Sanzbee Gateway. This is our technology. We have patented the software, which will be able to connect and any type of devices in any environment, any network protocol. We can connect and tap the data and take it to the cloud. So this is our proprietary. Okay, so this is a building blocks. Why I'm trying to give all these details, I'm going to the next slide, will explain to you. So we have got real-time integration, enterprise adapters. These are all, we are using all these tools to have the application. Okay, so we are using gateway, interfaces, machine learning and deep analysis. We are not gone, Sanzbee does not have does not entered into this area, but it is in the pipeline for us to develop machine learning and analytics. Okay, so this is what. So the software components, this will be interesting. So we are using, what are the tools? Because the end users, like those guys, students who are listening to what I'm saying, who are in Erode and Chennai and so on, would like to know, hey, I know Python. You know Python, you have a room in IoT. So we are using Python, we are using Android things, we are using Node.js, embedded C, we are using cloud, we are using Azure, AWS, Google Cloud. The server side, these are the different software which we are using, and we are using mobile apps, Android, iOS, and these are the tools which we are using. So if the students, it doesn't mean that I know Python, I don't have a room in IoT. No, you have a room. You know about Node.js, you have a room in IoT. So imagine all these software products are used in an application. So when you see an application, we have used all these type of solution softwares to build that application. That's the objective of what I would like to convey. So every IT engineer, IT programmer would be able to have a space in IoT engineering or IoT software development. Okay, thank you. That's all I have for you today. I'm thinking I leave it to I leave it to Tilak, Raj, to collect the questions.
Yeah.
Tilak or Raj.
Thank
you very much, sir.
Okay, thank you.
You have done an excellent job with such a passion. You have explained about all your products and solutions. It's great. So someone asked about the security. You can tell something about the security. In the meantime, we can ask a couple of people to directly ask you a question also.
Okay. there are security standards which has to be adopted in this development so that there is no intrusion. There is no, see, for example, when we are using Azure itself, the Microsoft Azure gives a platform by which we have a secured area. So we follow the security standards promoted by Azure, okay? So security standards, I have a slide. I will share the slide later on. I have not put in this. So we follow the security standards, what they are. I will send the slides to Dr. Krishnan, and you could have a view of it, okay? So we are following the security standards in this complete cycle, software cycle. And let's say Azure, we are using the Azure security standards such that every area, every step is protected, okay?
Yeah, another one adding to you, JP. Cyber security is also facilitated by Symantec, Cisco, and many organizations which are part of the infrastructure.
Exactly. So those are another layers which is above our application, which is putting controls. You're correct.
Yeah.
Because our stack is only at the lower end, so above that, there is this all the Symantec and so on, which protects the environment from any intrusion.
Another one, someone has asked about plug and play and non-plug and play kind of sensors. What is the cost of sensors like that? Is it practical like that?
I'm thinking sensors costs are different. We can even get a sensor for a few dollars. Okay, proximity sensors today are $7. Some of the water ultrasonic sensors are $200, and so on. So depending on the application, see what is happening is we also should ensure robustness of the sensor. Okay, so ensure that the sensor do not fail. Okay, the sensors, if it is powered, let's say a proximity sensor, normally the battery life period is 3 to 4 years. So we'll have to get the right type of sensor, the right type of battery usage. So the cost, we cannot just blindly give a cost. Depending on the area, depending on the application, depending on the robustness, the sensors vary. It is not only sensor alone. No, today, when we are mounting a sensor, collecting the data, and we are going to send the data through a GSM, there is also another device, a GSM device, which collects the data and transmits the data. So everything has to be looked in depending on the application need. Okay, I can talk about the sensors cost in a later area. Okay.
Okay, sir. Machandran, maybe we can ask anybody to unmute and ask question directly to sir also.
Yeah, that's good. Friends, all of you people have the equal rights to ask and get clarified. So whoever wishes to start it, go ahead. We have no inhibitions to answer. Just unmute yourself and keep asking questions.
Don't worry, don't be shy. If you don't have questions, if you have questions later on, do not hesitate to drop a mail to Dr. Krishnan. We are there to help you guys.
So
Krishnan has a broad, very.
Uma, there are a couple of questions I think on the chat window as well.
Okay, why can't you read it out for sure? Yeah.
Okay, so there's one from Wagme World. I have personally experienced something like NFC in year 2015. In case of NFC, we need to tap our device against something to develop a connection. How can we achieve NFC experience without tapping phone? What would be the way to achieve it?
Okay, it's an interesting question. We also encounter such type of, those are the tech. Okay, today I'm thinking NFC works like this. Sometimes when it goes into a sleep mode, so we'll have to use it, NFC, depending on case to case. When there is motion and so on, when you keep an NFC is desirable. But when there is no movement, it goes into sleep mode. Yes, there are alternates to that, which could be explained privately with you.
Okay, so actually we'll put the email ID. I think.
Purushottam, this is like a device which goes into a sleep mode, no?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So today,
so this is way to wake it.
to wake it. Today, sometimes the BLE also functions like this, and there are some turnarounds or workarounds to skip this from happening. But there are, I'm thinking, as you said, there are a lot of improvements which are happening to bring down the number of defects like this.
Okay. So what we do actually at the end, actually, we'll just put the email ID here. So we could, like anybody wish to ask a question, like they can drop an
somebody
email
is waving to ask a question. He's
yeah, sure. Okay. Yeah, please go ahead.
Sir, go ahead to ask the question. Sir.
Unmute yourself, please.
You can unmute and ask, please.
Hi.
Yeah.
I got disconnected because of some internet issues. Ma'am, please.
No issues. Please join.
Right. So my question was regarding NFC, especially because when we have spoken about a shopping experience that one can have while the visitor visits the place, and then finally they get the menu card as well as other details on their mobile screens, right? They get to know about it, what all can be shopped. This is the similar kind of experience that I had during one of the Auto Expo, I think Auto Expo in year 2015, where we are supposed to tap our phones by keeping our NFC option open on our phones. We have to tap on some sensor, and then finally we were getting the details regarding some of the cards which are being shown over there.
Correct.
So right now the major problem or the kind of a challenge that we have got, because people are very sensitive regarding touch issues. So probably I want something where people travel within the vicinity and they get the information